Hello viewers, I am Renuka and today's lecture will be on electric heating. We all know that when a current is passed through a conductor, it gets heated up due to I square R losses. That is, when a current passes through conductor, it generates heat across the resistance and the power is dissipated, and this heating characteristics of electric current is being utilized in industrial and domestic appliances. Now, what is the need of heating? Heating is required for domestic purposes such as cooking and heating of buildings, whereas for industrial purposes and heating is required for melting of metals, hardening and tempering, and it is also used in welding. The advantage of electric heating over other forms of heating are that it is economical. Electric heating is economical as electric furnaces are cheaper in initial cost as well as maintenance cost. It does not require any attention, so there are considerable savings in labor cost over the other system of heating, that is heating due to coal, gas or any other form of fuel. Moreover, the electric heating is also cheap as it can be produced on large scale. Cleanliness, since dust and ash are completely eliminated in heating system, so it is clean and cleaning costs are also rendered to a minimum amount. Absence of fuel gas, since no fuel gas are produced in this system, the atmosphere around is clean and pollution free. Ease of control, it is simple, accurate and reliable. Temperature of a furnace can be maintained with the help of manual or automatic devices. Desired temperature can be had in electric heating system, which is not convenient in other forms of heating. Efficiency, it has been found out that 75 to 100% of heat produced by electric heating can be successfully utilized, as the source can be brought directly to the point where the heating is required, as they reduce the losses. Thereby they reduce the losses due to the transportation of the heating from source to the point of heating. Automatic protection against overcurrent and overheating can be provided through suitable switch gears in electric heating system. Better working condition, electric heating system produces no irritation, noise and also radiation losses are low. Thus working with the electric furnaces is convenient and cool. Safety, electric heating is quite safe and responds quickly. Upper temperature limit, there is no upper limit to the temperature which is obtained except the ability of the material to withstand with the heat. Special heating requirement, certain requirements of the heating system such as uniform heating of material or heating of one particular portion of the job without affecting other heating of non-conducting materials, heating with no oxidization can be met only through electric heating system. Now, what are the elements which are required for heating? The heating effect of electric current can be produced by passing current through a heating element, and the material which is being used for heating element must have following properties. It should have specific resistance so that a small length of wire is sufficient to produce the required amount of heat. It should have high melting point so that high temperature can be obtained. It should have got low temperature coefficient, since the accurate temperature control, the resistance should be clearly constant for at all the temperature, and it is possible only if the resistance does not change with the temperature. It should not oxidize at higher temperature, otherwise the life is shortened and needs frequent replacement. Most commonly used heating element are either alloy of nickel and chromium or nickel chromium iron, or nickel chromium aluminum, or nickel and copper. The use of iron reduces the cost but lowers the life of the element as it gets oxidized easily. Now, what is the redesign of heating element? The heating element used for electric heating may be circular or rectangular like a ribbon, but ribbon type of element requires more watt per unit area. Hence, the circular heating elements are preferred. By knowing the electric input and its voltage, the size and length of heating element required to produce a given temperature can be calculated. Now, what are the causes of failure of heating element? There are so many causes for the failure of heating element. Some of them are explained below. Formation of hot spots. Hot spots are the point in heating element which are at higher temperature than the main body of element. Hot spots may be due to any of the following causes. High rate of local oxidization may reduce the cross section of element wire, thereby increasing the resistance at that spot. Thus more heat will be produced, which locally give rise to the breakdown of element. Shielding of element by support etc. will reduce the local heat loss by radiation and cause the rise of temperature of the shielded portion of the element. Therefore, minimum number of supports without producing distortion of the element should be used. Due to high element temperature, insufficient support of element or selection of wrong material, sagging and wrapping of element may result, which may cause uneven spacing of section, thereby producing the hot spot. The other reason for failure is oxidization of intermittency of operation. At higher temperature, oxide scale is formed on the heating element, which is continuous and tenacious. So it is so string that it prevents further oxidization of inner metal or element. However, if the element used is quite often, the oxide layer is subject to the thermal stress due to frequent cooling and heating. Thereby the oxide layer cracks and flakes of exposed further fresh metal to the oxidation, thereby produce the hot spot. Embrittlement due to grain and growth. All heating alloys contain iron and they tend to form large brittle grains at high temperature. When cold, the element is very brittle and liable to rupture easily on slightest handling and jerks. Contamination and corrosion. Elements may be subject to dry corrosion produced by their contamination with the gases of control atmosphere prevailed in the annealing surface of fumes from the flux, which is used in brazing furnace, or oil fumes produced by heat treatment of components contaminated with the lubricant. Now let us study the modes of transfer of heat. The heat from one body to other body can be transferred by any one of the following methods: conduction, convection and radiation. What is conduction? In this method, heat travels without actual movement of particles, that is, the flow of heat from one body to the other part of the body is dependent upon the temperature difference between these two parts. It is also applicable where the two bodies are at different temperature are joined together. The heated molecules of the substance transfer their heat to the adjacent molecule, that is, heat is transferred from one molecule to other molecule and heat flows, and this heat flow will invariably take place so long that there is differences in the temperature. For example, when one end of solid is heated, the molecules at the other end absorb the heat energy and begin to vibrate rapidly. When these molecules collide with the neighboring molecules, some energy is passed to them within turn begins to vibrate faster and comes some energy to the other molecules. Thus, heat is transferred from one molecule to other molecule without actual movement. If the heat is to be conducted from one object to other object, the following conditions must be met. The object should be bodily in contact with each other, that is, they must be in contact with each other. Temperature of these two bodies should be different, that is, temperature gradient should exist. Now, what is definition of conduction? The process in which heat is transferred from one particle to another in direction of the fall of temperature without the actual movement of particle in the medium is called conduction. The rate of conduction of heat along a substance depends upon the temperature gradient, as we have studied above, and it is expressed in megajoules per hour per meter square per meter per centimeter square, or in watts per centimeter square in case of electric heating. In a plate of thickness of T meters having X cross sectional area of its two parallel faces, an A square meter, and temperature of the two bodies is two faces is T1 and T2. The quantity of heat transferred through it in T hours is given by Q is equals to Ka by T into T1 minus T2 into capital T, where K is the coefficient of thermal conductivity of material and is measured in megajoules per hour per meter square per meter per centimeter. Now, second form of heat transfer is convection. The process of heat transfer in which heat is transferred from one place to another, that is, from hotter to colder one, by actual movement of particle of the medium is called as convection. For example, in case of heater used for heating buildings, the air in contact with the heat radiator element in a room receives heat from the contact with the element. The heated air expands and rises, and cold air flowing into takes place. Thus, there is a constant flow of air upward across the heating element. Thus, in this way, the room gets heated up. A similar action takes place in electric water heater. The continuous flow of water passing upward across the immersed heating element, with the result that the whole of the water in the tank becomes hot. The quantity of heat absorbed from the heater is by convection depends majorly upon the temperature of heating element above the surroundings and upon the size of the surface of heater. It also depends partly on the portion of the heater. Heat dissipation is given by the following expression: H is equals to A into T1 minus T2 into B watt per meter square, where A and B are the constant whose value depends upon the heating surface facilities for heating. T1 and T2 are temperature of heating surface and fluid in degrees Celsius. Now let us study the third method of heat transfer, that is radiation. The process of transmission of heat in which heat energy is transferred from hotter to colder body without heating a medium in between them is called radiation. For example, if we receive energy from the sun by radiation through therein a distance of 150 million kilometers between the earth and sun. The rate of heat of radiation is given by Stephen's law, according to which heat dissipation H is equals to 5.72 into 10 to the power 4 Ke into T1 by 1000 minus T2 by 1000, where T1 is the temperature of source of heating in degrees Celsius, T2 is the temperature of substance heated in degrees Celsius. K is constant known as radiant efficiency, whose value is 1 for single element and 0.5 to 0.8 for several elements placed side by side. E is the emissivity, which is 1 for black body and 0.9 for resistance element. Electric heating method. The electric heating method can be classified as following. Electric heating is initially classified into power frequency heating and high frequency heating. Power frequency heating is again classified into arc heating and resistance heating, which is arc heating is classified as direct heating and indirect arc heating, resistance heating into direct resistance heating, indirect resistance heating, and infrared heating. High frequency heating is divided into induction and dielectric heating. Now we will study these different methods of heating in the next class. I hope till now the method of electric heating, its advantage and disadvantages are clear to you. We'll meet in the next class.